speaking of the new, in defense of the new, Ajoy, and let me come to you, the auto industry has seen more disruption than any other industry, from manufacturing, autonomous driving to electric vehicles, lots of things happening. So how are you leveraging the power of digital to streamline business processes to create a customer-centric organization?
Great, that's a great question, Gautam. Thank you for that. And I must also thank all the esteemed panelists. Lots of great ideas are already on the table, especially like Mr. Anil's idea of having mattresses of two varieties within the same mattress. And Anil, I'm going to speak about that to my wife tonight. All right. So Gautam, long back in our journey, we realized that customer is too important to be left to two individuals or two functions. For example, traditionally, there is a buyer and there is a seller. And these are the two people who come, interact, and the transaction happens and the business happens. Or if it's in case of B2B, there is a buying organization or a purchase function and there is a sales function, and they interact and the transactions happen and the business happens. But we realize that there is a lot more on the table. If we are to reverse this triangle and make the longer arm of the triangle meet each other, then a lot of value can be created. For example, if there is a cross-functional team from customer side and a cross-functional team from a manufacturer side, for example, comprising of people from finance, marketing, sales, operations, supply chain, manufacturing, engineering, from both sides, and then you look at the proposition. And some of my colleagues earlier mentioned about creating value. A lot more value can be created. The cake can be made much bigger, and each one of us can have a higher pie of that, higher share of that cake, right? So that's where that's the point I wanted to introduce manufacturing into customer centricity. So what we did was we have, for example, so sometimes to an outsider a truck might look like a truck. So more of my examples will be Gautam from truck, because I represent the commercial vehicles. We can talk about PV examples with my PV colleagues perhaps at a later date. So while a truck might look like might sound like a truck or look like a truck to anybody, but actually truck has multiple applications, and each customer's need is actually quite unique. And in a manner of speaking, it is actually customized almost to an individual need. So you mentioned about digitalization. So one of the first things that we did was to create a vehicle configurator. For example, if I am a, let's say, if I am a Amazon, or let's say a Flipkart, my requirement of having a truck will be different from if I have to be a, let's say, cement manufacturer to supply cement to a construction site. If I'm a steel supplier, right, my requirement can be different. So here we have a digital app where a consumer can walk into our dealership and actually can configure the vehicle that he wants, which means what kind of tonnage that he wants to carry, what kind of reliability he wants, what kind of powertrain he wants, what kind of torques he wants, what kind of terrain he wants to traverse. And of course, there is a back end and there is a whole lot of engineering behind this, but he can actually configure the vehicle that he wants. So this is something that we have been working on, and this is now something which is on stream. And this is one of the in the pandemic time, as somebody rightly mentioned, where you could no longer go to the dealer points as frequently as you did earlier. You have these devices, you have these apps, and therefore you can configure your vehicle. So not only your at the back end, your vehicle design becomes more modular, it also gets kind of customized to your customer's requirement.